Our daily Bible reading for April 29th. Our reading today comes from the Gospel of Luke chapter 20, beginning in verse 27. There came to him some Sadducees, those who deny that there is a resurrection. And they asked him a question, saying, Teacher, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies having a wife but no children, the man must take the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers. The first took a wife and died without children, and the second and the third took her. And likewise all 7 left no children and died. Afterward the woman also died. In the resurrection, therefore, whose wife will the woman be? For the 7 had her as wife. And Jesus said to them, The sons of this age marry and are given in marriage. But those who are considered worthy to attain to that age and to the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage. For they cannot die any more, because they are equal to angels and are sons of God, being sons of the resurrection. But that the dead are raised, even Moses showed in the passage about the bush, where he calls the Lord the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. Now he is not God of the dead, but of the living, for all live to him. Then some of the scribes answered, Teacher, you have spoken well, for they no longer dared to question him. But he said to them, How can they say that the Christ is David's son? For David himself says in the book of Psalms, The Lord said to my Lord, Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. David thus calls him Lord. So how is he his son? And in the hearing of all the people, he said to the disciples, Beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes and love greetings in the marketplaces, and the best seats in the synagogues, and the places of honor at feasts, who devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayers. They will receive the greater condemnation. Our thoughts for today. There is much mystery surrounding life after death. There is also much misinformation about the subject as well. There is much more that we simply will not know until that day arrives. Many people are confused by this subject due to what the world teaches that is not based on biblical facts. The Sadducees were such a group in the first century. The 2 main points of contention were the belief in no life after death and that there were no angels. Paul says in Acts 23, verse 8, For the Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, nor an angel, nor a spirit, but the Pharisees acknowledge them all. The Sadducees, says Josephus, take away the belief of the immortal duration of the soul and the punishment and rewards in Hades. We find this in his work, Jewish Wars, Book 2, Chapter 8, Section 14. The doctrine of the Sadducees is this, says he, that the souls die with the bodies. That's found in his book, Antiquities, Book 18. This apparently was a well-known fact to all who knew this sect, that this is a point of contention, as is seen here in the attempt to trip up Jesus on this most difficult question. Even today, many religious people teach that the soul shall die with the body and that there is no life after death. Jesus clearly dispels this myth by stating that they cannot die, being as angels, and that they also do not marry. Our culture bears much of the blame for the false teaching on death and the afterlife. Many believe that when we die, we become angels and serve God in various ways. Some believe that the souls of some people wander the earth in search of rest and peace. Some believe that we become young again and seek out our loved ones and those of departed husbands and wives to be reunited. All these are unsubstantiated by biblical teaching and fall clearly into myths promoted by popular culture. Jesus teaches plainly that there is life after death and a resurrection, and that there is no marriage after death. These 2 teachings alone could be used to dispel a vast amount of false beliefs and teaching. Going beyond the Scriptures is a dangerous undertaking. We ought to be satisfied to accept what the Bible teaches and leave the rest in God's hands. We shall understand what He allows by and by. Question of the day. How many myths can you identify that are promoted in popular culture today? And a thought to meditate on this day. There is much to know that is clearly taught in Scripture about death, dying, and life after death. We are given the knowledge that is sufficient to warn us of punishment for wickedness and reward for obedience. And those are our thoughts for today, April 29th.